Intentional Studio, and today I wanted to talk about something that I get asked all the time, and that is if I will make functional art. Things like these resin tables, you know them, or these charcuterie boards. I know you know them too, the beautiful artistry that usually is at farmers markets or handmade makers markets. And while I can appreciate the absolute beauty of those pieces, I think that for me, my answer to that question is, will I ever make them, is no. Firm no. And I used to say, my answer used to be, oh well, I could, I just don't have the tools. And while that remains true, I don't have the tools to make these kinds of functional works. It also doesn't align with the function of my pieces, because my art does have a function. The function of my pieces is to elicit an emotional response in regards to life's vibrancy, life's beauty. The function of my art is to look at it and go, wow, and be so emotionally resonant with the piece that it serves as a reminder, depending on the piece, that you and your life is vibrant, that you are strong, or that the butterfly effect plays a role in your life. And depending on the piece, obviously, that you pick, you define the message that resonates with you. But I think that it does my art a disservice if I were to put it on a functional piece like a cutting board, because I don't want people to see my art and my designs and go, oh, that's a kitchen tool. That's great. She makes kitchen tools. Or, oh, that's a really pretty table. She makes tables, because I don't. My art is functional for the emotional resonance, not the actual activity function that they provide. Because for me, I want to be a household name. I want people to look at my work every day, but I don't want them to use it every day. For charcuterie boards, cutting boards, and tables and functional items like that, the surface gets worn down and people step past it. It's so routine in people's activities that they look past the design. Yeah, they might take a moment to look like and notice it's pretty, but over time they step past it and they stop resonating with it. It just becomes a pattern in their activity, and that's not what my pieces are intended for. So, with utmost respect, going forward, when anybody else asks me in my life if I would make them a structural piece that has function for a kitchen material or a table material, my answer is not going to be, I don't have the tools. My answer is going to be no. It's not in line with my practice, my function of my pieces, or just the deeply profound emotional resonance of each piece. I put so much effort, materials, attention, love, emotion imbued into every piece. I think it's a disservice to put it on those items. And like I said, I have an immense respect and admiration for those gorgeous functional pieces. But I'm allowed to say that's not what I want my art to be for. Especially because on pieces like that, the texture that I worked so hard to create, the emotional texture, the vibrancy, the actual 3D texture, is actually a nuisance for pieces like charcuterie boards and tables and cutting boards, because you can't, while you can put your cup of coffee into this piece and it would stand if you're holding it, that's not the point. That's not what its job is. Its job is to add texture to the emotional state that is represented in this piece. The reason I felt called to make this video is because it's happened so many times in our personal life now, when I'm out with loved ones and friends, or we're out at gatherings where other people have seen our art, my art, and they ask me if I would do it. And like I said, I used to beat around the bush. I'd say I don't have the tools and the capability to make those types of items. And it happened again last night. My fiance and I were at a gathering, and they said that one of their family members would be interested in a charcuterie board. And again, nothing against those people who create charcuterie boards or the people who want charcuterie boards. They're lovely and beautiful, and I want an artistful and tasteful one as well. But we were in the car on the way home, and he said, do you actually want to do those? Do you actually want to make them? He didn't actually give an answer if he'd do it. I sat there stunned for a minute, and I told him no, I actually don't want to make those. And I don't think it's in line with the vision for my art or my brand. And while I know that both things are small right now, they won't always be. And I just told him I deeply don't want my art associated with a kitchen task and a tool. I want my art to transcend that mundane feeling, because while I do fully believe there is texture, vibrancy, and emotional depth in those everyday mundane moments, my art is to remind you of the beauty and the vibrancy of those moments, not fall into line and just become a part of the rut that people look past. And I'm really grateful that I have the fiance I have who knows me enough to say, hey, you need to actually answer this question, or think about it for yourself. You're allowed to say no to making things like that. And I think that part of my initial beat around the bush answer was because there was some part of me that was a little bit afraid that if I didn't say yes, that I would make charcuterie boards and tables, that that's all people want from me and no one's going to want anything else. But if I, right now in this video, take those items fully off the table, the people who really want my art, the people who really resonate with my message are going to find that, and they're not going to think anything about the functional daily living items, because that's just not what I do. And if you stayed around to watch this whole thing, I know it's a little bit of around the bush, and I've said the same thing a few different ways a few times. Thank you for staying and reaching the end of this video, because I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, I would love to know. And I don't know what people think yet when they look at my pieces or when they look at my art and my videos. And I would love some insight. I would love to know what you thought, or what you think, or what interests you, or any questions you have. So please let me know. And also, have a good day.